But I just feel like coming in and telling other people to do that is just wrong. Because again, oh, double gooseberry bush. This is actually really good for us. Gooseberries are one of the most expensive harvestables, if not the most expensive harvestable. Because like I don't think anybody has the right to tell anybody what to feel on stuff. And people have been attacking other people over that. You know, there's a lot of people that have been like, I'm kind of looking forward to this. And they're like, oh, you're not a real fan because a real fan would know that this doesn't look good, right? It's just like, what? What does that even mean? But... because that's the thing, is like, some people also forget that some of these games came out before some people that are going to be playing them are even born. Right? There are people who have the ability to drink in the US, which is the age of 21, who were born after these games came out. Right? So, like, Wilbur team's credit, the Eddie redesign looks great. Yeah, like, that's the thing, is like, I'm looking at like, okay, this is cool. I like this. I like this thing. This thing looks like... the problem again is, no matter how cool of a thing they show, two things are going to happen. One, we're not going to know if that's truly how it's going to look or act or whatever once we get into the game. And two, people, even if it looks good, people are going to be like, eh, you know, the people that are already hating on it. So... okay, interesting. But again, like, I have no problem with people being like, I do not expect good things of this. That's fine. Again, that's taking accountability for your own opinion. But again, when I've gone on, you know, Twitter, which Twitter's a hellscape anyways, let's be honest. But when I go on Twitter and I just see multiple people being like, well, if you like this game, you're not a real fan, or you don't know what to expect and you're wrong. And it's just like, what? How are you going to tell somebody how they should feel about a thing? Like, present them with like the information and let them make that decision, right? You know, if you're like, hey, I don't like this redesign choice, and here's why. If you look at this sequence in 2, you know, this is how this kind of plays out, and I don't think it sets the same amount of gravity, right? You can come at it from a very critical and helpful approach if you want to convince people that, you know, this might not be the thing they're looking for, but that's not what people are doing, right? That's what bugs me. But okay, yeah, we need to. It's always the case with remakes where people act like it hurts the original in some way beyond the opportunity cost of new fans. I really don't. Yeah, like, that's the thing that bothers me. Now, I will say, the Silent Hill games are expensive from a retro standpoint, right? Like, you're talking... Let me check real quick. Let's see how much a physical copy of Silent Hill 2 is. Silent Hill 2... if you're just getting the PlayStation 2 version, that's not the greatest hits or whatever, $145, right? So, like, on one hand, it's helpful to have a remake, because that means people that can't afford to spend $145 plus whatever it costs for a PS2 or PS3 console, they'll be able to play it. But, yeah, no, I think their problem is people, whenever remakes come out, people are afraid that their favorite game is going to be forgotten, right? They feel like if the remake overshadows the original, then it's a bad thing, right? Like, as if that's just going to erase the original from history. but
nobody gets left behind.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen. Like, I would say it happens more in movies than it does in video games. I have seen it happen in movies. Perfect example is if you've ever seen the movie 13 Ghosts, which I believe came out in the 2000s. That's actually a remake of, like, a 60s film. Basically, everyone I've talked to did not know that was true. Which is fine, because the 60s film is not that good anyways. It was meant to be a gimmick film, so it was done by a specific company who I can't remember the name of. But the gimmick with the original 13 Ghosts is you had, you know, like the blue and red visors, right, that you do to look at 3D. Well, what they had is they had a red visor on the bottom, and then you flipped it, and it was a blue visor on top. So what they would say is in the movie theater, they'd be like, if you don't want to see the ghost, wear the blue visor now. You know, and they would basically try to sell people, like, people that want to be scared would wear the red visor and see the ghost because the way they had burned in the ghosts. But one of the ghosts is literally just stock footage of a lion. Like, that's all it is. So, like, it's not... Daisy, are you okay?
Rise and shine, everyone!
Alright, let's hang out. Because more crops are up here. So, like, I will say, like... I do think in the case of movies, the originals do have the tendency to get, like, overlooked if it's been so long after it's been made. But I don't think I've ever seen that happen with video games. I don't think I've ever seen a remake, like, remove the original from existence where people don't know about the original. Now, in some cases, that's not a good thing. And, you know, there's some really bad originals that get remakes that are actually much better, but, you know, there's a few and far between. Grab this stuff. But again, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to feel about this stuff. If people want to go in and they're like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, or I'm kind of iffy about it, that's fine. It's okay to be iffy about it. You know, your expectations are your expectations, right? That is perfectly reasonable to look at something that you enjoy, especially, see it being made again and go, maybe not, you know? Even with RE4, which was being... who didn't like the changes and retain the original. Again, like, because it's gaming, I don't think the originals really get overshadowed like they do with movies. But yeah, it's fine. I feel like if you play RE4 Remake and you go, you know, I kind of like how the original played more, that's fine. That's a-okay. That's not what I'm trying to argue here, right? Like, I think that's the problem is people forget that when people are standing in position, not you specifically, I'm just mentioning the people online that I've seen go absolutely bonkers with some of this stuff. I think the problem is they forget that two things can exist at once, you know? And Elsa's still hanging out in her house, huh? And you're free to play whatever version you want to play, man. Like, if you don't want to play the remake, don't play the remake. If you don't want to play the original, don't play the original, you know? It's completely up to you. It's your money, it's your time. Spend it how you wish. If you're looking at the Silent Hill 2 remake and you're like, nah, bro, that's not where it's at. Cool, don't play it. You know, you don't have to. No one's forcing you to play it. Right, like, it happens with Twitch, too. There's a weird thing with Twitch where people will come into chats and be like, man, you're not playing something I want to see. It's like, okay, then find a channel that is, man. Like, you're not locked into this channel. Like, it's just so weird. It's people's mentality sometimes. Like, it's a zero-sum thing, right? If one thing has something, then something else can't have something. It's a very prominent mindset. I think especially here in the US, where people just have this zero sum of if one thing gets recognition or has resources, then nothing else can have resources or recognition, right? Like, and that's just not how anything works at all. Right. But like I said, I'm being hopeful for it because I've looked at the trailers, I've looked at the gameplay, you know, all that stuff. I don't really see much that I don't like about the remake, right? Like I like the way that they're doing stuff. I like the little thing like James pulling out his map to actually mark on the map. It seems like a kind of unnecessary detail, but I think it's a cool one to have, right? Like I think I like the redesigns of the characters. I think it makes Angela look a lot younger, which is kind of the point. Because I'll be honest, in the original Silent Hill 2, Angela looks like she's 30, and she's supposed to be like 19, right? she does not look 19 in the original. She looks like Maria, and Maria is definitely James's age, and James is probably in his 30s, if not older, right? But Maria is supposed to look older because she's supposed to be, you know, Mary and all that jazz. But like, you know, and a lot of people really like the Eddie redesign. I do too. I think it's really gonna set Eddie's story apart, because the problem, the thing is Angela and Eddie's story are meant to shine a light on James's story from two different points of view, right? Angela's story is from a like justified, what people would say is a justified level of you know, murder, and then Eddie's is like an unjustified level of murder, right? And James is supposed to fall somewhere in the middle of those two, right? That's kind of the idea. They're supposed to be like the extremes, right? And James is supposed to fall there in the middle, which again, I think James's ending, especially his good ending, is too self-congratulatory. I do not like James or his story. I like everything else about Silent Hill 2. I will probably take that to my grave, and I will probably get so much hate in the Silent Hill community from now until the end of time, but oh well. You know. Okay, we gotta find these crystals in the village. I don't even know what we're looking for.
Oh, doesn't that sunshine feel nice?
I don't know if they're gonna glow or anything, but yeah, I'm not a fan of James's story, but I think there's some interesting things to explore there, obviously.
The coolest person you'll ever meet.
Okay, so they give off a little purple thing when they do that. We still haven't figured out a way to get through the bones. It's interesting. I like James' story, but very specifically do not like James because of it. I always feel uncomfortable in his shoes, which to my mind is sort of the point. Yeah, like, again, it's because Angela and Eddie's story shine a light on that. But the main problem I have with James's story is his good ending, which people argue is not the canonical ending. I think it's argued that the in-water ending is the canonical ending, but again, when it comes to canon, it's very strange. Yeah, we gotta get over there at some point, so I think we gotta level up with Scar as well. The main problem I have is, if you go for the good ending, James basically forgives himself and leaves Silent Hill, right? And my problem is like, that's so messed up that his problem wasn't that, his problem wasn't that he lost his wife. His problem was dealing with the fact that he's a murderer, right? And being okay with being a murderer. And that just doesn't vibe with me, dude. Like, I don't think your good ending should be like, oh, well, I killed my wife, I feel better about it now. Excuse me? Like, what? Like, I don't know. And I like I said, I know people are probably gonna argue with me. That'd be like, well, actually, there's more nuance to it than that, because no, there's not. I don't feel like there's more nuance to that, because James is not the nuance to his story. Angela and Eddie are the nuance to his story. Because there's very few people that I've talked to that do not think Angela was justified in defending herself against her father and brother, right? Angela was justified in doing what she had to do to survive. Eddie did not. He wasn't doing things for his survival. He was doing things because he needed an excuse to hurt people, right? He needed an excuse to hurt people, and he found one, right? Now, of course, yeah, there's a little bit more depth to that about, you know, you talk about bullying and the effect on of repeated bullying on people, but like, so far as we know, no one really did anything to Eddie physically. You know, so he wasn't justified in just shooting a guy because the guy said he looked funny, right? And that's kind of the point, you know, is where does James land on the justification scale? Now, some people are like, well, he's kind of justified because it's a mercy killing. It's like, okay. You know, as someone who is chronically ill, I believe there's probably going to be days for, and most people that are chronically ill probably would agree with me, there are going to be days where you just, you know, you think the same way Mary did in that sequence, right? But that doesn't justify someone killing, you know, their partner over, like, I don't know. Like I said, I do not vibe with a story that because Mary threw a fit because she was dying and in pain, that James was justified in killing her. I do not like that as a story. And then him walking away being like, well, I feel better about it now. What? Oh, I didn't know space could pull out your umbrella. That's kind of cool. Like, again, and again, spoilers, I guess, for 2, but I don't vibe with that, man. I really don't. I guess we need to look around the different zones. But again, it's one of those when you talk about like a justified killing, that's when you get into the area where the game is trying to take place, which is where do you draw the line, right? And at what point does it go from a justified killing to an unjustified killing, right? And for some people, the line basically doesn't exist. They believe all killing is unjustified. That's fine. That's a thing to believe, right? There's a bunch of people that believe that. I mean, we've been having at least in America, we've been having the debate over the death penalty for decades at this point. So... so it's one of those things that's like, you know, that's the conversation the game's trying to have, and I think it's a good conversation to have. Like, again, my problem is not the game itself. My problem is specifically James. I don't know how many Matryoshka dolls we need. I think that's what those things are called. But okay. Sorry, I'm looking for these dark crystal things that we need to find. I'm not sure where they are. They're supposed to give off like a little purple glow based on what we saw, so... Guessing if we just use our eyes, we can probably find them.
Sheesh, this place is bonkers.
But... Oh, we need to feed our wolf for today. Hold on. Let's go back to our house and grab the white sturgeon. But again, like, if people like the story for their reasons, that's fine. I know tons of people that love the story. Again, any opinion that I like dictate is not a dictation to someone else. It's just something that I'm saying for myself. This is what I feel in my own stuff. I'm not trying to give someone else my opinion, which again I think is the major difference between how I talk about things and how other people on the internet talk about things. So Because you know, it's nothing for people to be like, oh well, blank is overhyped or blank is not good or whatever. It's like, okay, now defend that position, right? Let's talk about it, you know. And I think that's the part that's missing. And sometimes you got to find the platform to do that, right? Like sometimes Twitter is just not the place to have those kinds of conversations. And I completely understand when people are like, I don't want to do this here. That's fine. I understand, you know. Man, these potatoes need a lot of watering. Okay, Daisy is now level 7, which gives us another 1,000.
Oh, I'll help you in any way I can. Trust me.
Okay, let's talk to Merlin, because apparently he's going to tell us what to do with these. Something strange going on in the valley. Musical instruments in the library have been acting quite irregularly. Okay. What do you do with this Matryoshka doll I found? Hope it's possible. Perhaps someone new is coming to the valley. Trouble fully manifesting. Okay. Have you surveyed the Forgotten Lands recently? Master's. Okay. Perhaps those odd dolls have something to do with it.
We have work to do. Oh, but I...
Okay. I want to talk about what I learned of the Forgotten's memories. The Forgotten must be stopped. The Forgotten can be saved. They can be saved. Not the words that will stop the Forgotten, at least the words I've found. I've certainly tried. Talk to the Forgotten in one of those memories. You gave the Forgotten some great advice. It was too bad they weren't ready to hear it. You said that no matter what we leave behind, there are some things that must never be forgotten. Things like friendship, love, and care. Yep.
Yeah.
Notice the rips in the sky. Okay. Follow me, Evans. Covered something at Mickey's house. Yeah, we saw that. Let's go up to the Forgotten Lands. Now that everybody's hanging out in the Forgotten Lands for some reason. Now Elsa wants to show up. But well, that's the thing is, I think there's a lot to talk about with the Silent Hill as a series and stuff like that. And again, I think it deserves the time to talk about it, and that's another reason why I'm excited for the remake, because again, there's a lot of people that aren't a part of that conversation that can be or will be. So I'm very interested to see new points of view on it. We went to our house to get a white sturgeon so we could give it to the wolf, but hey, I can play fish. He said look around up here and see if anybody's trying to show up. I don't see anybody. There's the white raven. Should be diamond, right? Okay, more sword in the stone. Question, was that the last thing we needed for gems? No. We have shiny diamond. Okay, so the last thing we're missing is shiny sapphire, and then we'll have acquired every gem in the game, which is kind of cool. I don't know if you get anything for that, but still kind of cool. but I don't know. Again, I'm interested to see. I'm very interested to see how things go. I feel like that's gonna be something. Oh, there's a note here. There's a dark place at the edge of the valley. Every time I walk by, it makes me feel all sad and cold inside. Maybe we could decorate it and make it a little bit brighter. Okay. I'm gonna see if we see anything. Are we supposed to open the dolls? Is that what it is? As if it could be hung somewhere. Oh. Wait, is this a... Jack Skellington. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. Let's not Kraus because he's like 10 feet tall. Okay, I needed to take a picture anyways. Hello, friend. It's wonderful. I remember my time here fondly. You're the one who called me back? Sure am. Thanks for the call. I'm extremely happy to be back. Dreamlight Valley is always in need of a kind of fright only I can supply. What a lovely welcome. I felt the reverberations of magic when the valley began to be inhabited again, but I got trapped in the holiday travel path when I attempted to return. Maybe the holiday magic had some unexpected interactions with Dreamlight magic? Regardless, I'm happy to have you back. First off, can you help me get settled? Let's find a good place for you to live.
I must go. There's...
Okay, well, you know we gotta put you in the spooky place. Maybe not. I don't think we can do that because there's too much, thing there. I guess we'll put you next to Wally. Just put you there. At least for now.